Good morning, everyone. Welcome to James Study Hub. This is Srishti Ghosh, and today we will be doing the chapter Public Relations in Private and Public Sectors. So let's see what we will be going to learn in today's class. In today's class, we will start off with public relations in the public sector. We will learn about the different directorate sections available. We will learn about the role of PR in public sector, the functions and the objectives of PR in public sector, the public relations campaign in public sector, and the public relations in private and non-government sector. So we have two types of PR today to learn about. So without further ado, let's start today's class with our first slide that is describing public relations in the public sector. So till now, we have learned about a lot of things about public relations, about the different types of public relations and the functions, the responsibilities, the roles, everything we have learned about public relations are regarding to the particular work of public relations. But these PR professionals are belonging from either the public sector or from the private sector. When I talk about public sector, I am talking about the governmental organization. I'm talking about the organizations owned by the government or the government organizations itself. So the public sector covers the governmental agencies, council, police forces, and the NHS. So everything that comes under the government is referred to as the public sector. Now, when I am dealing with the government or the public sector, the other organizations, for example, the private organizations or any other organization needs to maintain a relationship with this public sector as well. But how does public relation actually works under this particular sector of public relations where the governmental identification is the nodal thing at the center? So PR in these areas or in these in these areas may focus on helping to explain policies and actions as well as informing the public about their rights. The state has its PR machinery and media units to disseminate the information. So whatever the government of a particular state or a particular country is doing, whatever the chief minister organization or anything is doing in the each of the states and in the government as in whole needs to be disseminated to the public, right? So this work is done by the PR professionals who are working under the public sector, that is under the consideration or under the rules of the government. Then we are calling it public relations in the public sector. When the PR professionals or the PR team engaged with that of the governmental agencies, councils, forces, and NHS working together, we are calling it the PR in public sector. Now, each of these agencies, councils, police forces are having their own public relations department. The state has its PR machinery and media units to disseminate the information, right? So you are basically engaging with the governmental section of the society. That means you are under constant navigation. Whatever you do, whatever moves you make, whatever strategic analysis you do, everything is recorded. Now, the district PROs, public relation officers, are the key person in the structure. In this entire public relation structure, the major person or the major role is played by the district PRO. Each of the state has a directorate of information and public relations, which coordinates the activities through field publicity offices. And its strength is not very large and is dependent on specific needs. So each of the government is having or each of the states are having a directorate of information and public relations which does a particular work, and that is coordinating the activities, right? Coordinating the activities through field publicity and offices. It is the strength. Its strength is not very large and it is dependent on specific needs. So remember, the district PRO is the major person who works under the public sector under the category of public relations. So he is basically the person handling the entire thing. So all you need to know about public relations in public sector is that it actually covers the governmental agencies, councils, police forces, etc., and helps the audience and helps the people on the other hand to know about their policies, understanding, and everything, how the organization is working, how the actions are taken by the government is actually done by the public relations department of this particular sector. Next, we will see the directorate section. Now, the directorate section that I talked about, that the directorate PRO is a key person who actually deals with everything that concerns the public relations in public sector. This directorate that each of the state is having has certain sections. What are the sections? There are 8 sections in total. The first section is the publication wing that actually deals with the publication of materials, policies, and other individual requirements. Then is field publicity and exhibition section that deals with any kind of exhibition that is going to take place. To make the people know, there needs to be certain kind of publicity. So that deals with this particular section. Next is the planning and development wing. Any kind of planning and development that is needed in the state is done by this particular or discussed or information is issued through this wing. Then is the cultural and development section. The cultural and the developmental section essentially deals with the cultural counterpart of any state. Then is the information wing. The information wing basically deals with any kind of information that circulates in the entire directorate where needs to be brought about in here. Next is the scrutiny section. Under the scrutiny section, what do we do? Under the scrutiny section, everything that you are releasing, if you as a directorate releasing a PR, a press release, that needs to be scrutinized under this particular section, no matter which category or which level of employee you are. Every written policy, every written law, every written rule needs to be, scrutinized under this particular section. Next is the advertising wing. The advertising wing is one of the major wings because revenue is earned from this particular wing. And the reason revenue is earned from this wing is that they are marketing the governmental policies to the audience. Today, there are a lot of policies or lot of schemes that has been introduced by the Chief Minister of West Bengal, like not only West Bengal, throughout India, there are certain schemes like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. So how do you actually, market that particular thing so that people are aware about its existence? It is done through the advertisement wing. It is shown on every media outlets, on posters, banners, flyers, everywhere. So the entire advertisement department or the advertisement requirements is dealt in the advertisement wing. And the last one is the special campaign wing. The special campaign wing is basically requires the, if there are any kind of campaign that needs to be set up. For example, with the COVID situation and the COVID pandemic situation, for the vaccination drive, the government sector can actually arrange a vaccination drive. I can give you the example of the thing that happened in Calcutta. Is that where I stay in Calcutta, that in here the second when the second wave came on in, the government started the rapid vaccination work, and what they did is they started placing campaigns in various areas of Calcutta, and they started giving out vaccines, right? And that procedure was done through mobile. So we used to book the procedure was booking the entire thing online through WhatsApp, and other website was also available. We used to book the slots and then go to the destination and get our vaccines done. So this actually helped a lot of people to get their vaccines, because other places it was much more crowded, and you are already aware about the horrors of the second wave. So during that time, to make the vaccination process much more easier and to help people out, this initiative was taken by the government of West Bengal, and that is a part of the campaign, and that is actually was under control of the special campaign wing. Whenever there is a need of campaign, whenever there is a need to help out the people, of the society, this wing comes into a major play. So we have here 8 different wings: the publication wings, that wing that works for any kind of publication, the field publicity and exhibition, planning and development wing, cultural and development section, information wing, the scrutiny section, where all the scrutinizing is done, the advertisement wing, and the special campaign wing. Next, we will see the role of public relations in the public sector. So in the governmental sector, how PR works, first is the implementation of public policy. The first and foremost thing is to implement any kind of public policy that is introduced by the government, right? So to tell people that this policy is in, circulation, needs to be there, out there to the audience. For example, let's just take the example that the moment the demonetization news broke out, the first and the foremost thing that the PR from the public sector did was to present the entire scenario in front of the audience, because people were confused at that point of time, right? People had no idea what to do with the money they had in their banks, they had with themselves, and it was a complete panic situation. In that case, the first and the foremost thing is the implementation of the public policy. You have to tell people out there what your public policy is, what your policy. If you are introducing demonetization, what is needed to be done by the audience. Make sure that whatever you are telling to the public, or to the consumers, to the audience out there, that needs to be absolutely accurate and to the point, so that it is easier for them to understand. So the first is implementation of public policy. Next is assisting the news media in coverage of government activities. The entire news media needs to have a good relationship with the public sector and vice versa, because unless and until there is a media or a channel of transmission present in between the public sector and its audience, the presenting the news out there won't be possible. Therefore, one needs to assess the news media in coverage of the government activities. For example, if there is a COVID vaccination drive is going on, the PR professionals from the public sector needs to call the leading news channels and ask them to cover it. Now, the fact that you have to mention that what is the importance of that particular event is very necessary. Now, this news organization needs to look into the fact whether that particular news that they are going to cover will bring on or increase the circulation or not. If it is of that much importance, they will essentially come and cover it. Next is reporting the citizens on agency activities. The citizens must be aware about what the government sector is up to. It is the duty of the people to know and, understand what is the policies and how does it actually works. Increasing internal question of the agency, increasing agencies sensitive to its public, and mobilizing of the support for the agency itself. So here we are dealing with the agency that requires in internal questioning, increasing the agency sensitive to the public. You have to make the public open to that of the agency, and mobilization of support for the agency itself. So these are the role of PR in public sector. Next, we will see the functions and the objectives of public relations in public sector. The basic function of government public relations department or its agency is to provide information, education, and instruction to the citizens. This is one of the major lines that you need to remember when you are studying PR in public sector. The only thing that the government aims to is to provide information, education, and instruction to its citizens. People need to be informed about what is happening. They need to be educated about the policies that they are introducing, and they need instructions so as to how to apply these policies in their respective lives. And the effort should also motivate people directly or indirectly to discharge this function in a meaningful and a purposeful manner. And it is necessary that the public relations department or the wing should be clear about the broad objectives which guide their work. So if you are presenting information out there to the public, you yourself need to be very cautious about the information that you are sending out there. Now, the objectives of PR in public sector shall be non-political, non-controversial, and on which there should be a national consensus. No matter which government you belong to or which political aspect you are inclined towards, when you are dealing with the audience in general, all the objectives of PR in public sector has to be non-political and non-controversial, and it should have a complete national understanding in that particular sector. The objectives should further the interests and the well-being of the public as a whole and promote many-sided development of the country. The public sector should always have the objective to look after the well-being of the public as a whole and to promote development in the country. And the last one is the objectives should be long-term ones and need not necessarily change political vagaries. The fact that they are asking that not to mix the public sector with that of the political parties or political requirements or political controversies in general, all they're asking is to be neutral and talk about or sort out the well-being of people in the society. The idea in all of these public sector and private sector is to provide development for the country. So these are the functions and objectives of public relations in public sector. Next, we will move on to the factor that public relations campaign. There are two types of public relations campaign in the public sector. What are the different two types of campaign? Remember, the campaign wing is actually, actually handled by the special campaign wing that we learn in the directorate slide. There are two types of campaign. One is the mission campaign. Second is the communication campaign. Now, the mission campaign is dealing with providing information to the general public, and it involves a one-way communication. Like, for suppose, the government is announcing demonetization to the public, right? So this is a one-way communication. That is the mission's communication, something about big. The next is communications campaign. It involves discussion with the public and public about the policies and action. The intention is to influence the knowledge and opinion of the public and stakeholders, but they involve two-way communication. So when I am dealing with communications campaign, I am dealing with the factor of what we call is feedback. Feedback is after the missions campaign is done with that of announcing that demonetization will be done, when these public relations officers will issue notice and brochures about what to be done and what are the rules and what are the things that we need to abide by, this will start creating a conversation among people. It will start creating a two-way communication. where people will talk to other people and there will be the rise of discussion. And sometimes there will be change of opinions as well. So these are the two different types of public relations campaign in public sector. The missions campaign that is only done to, to just give out the information regarding the policy changes, regarding the policies and everything. But when it comes to the communications campaign, it is about the discussion, it is about talking, it is about, it is just about discussing what the public sector is up to. Next, we will go on to the public relations in the private and non-government sector. So till now, we have learned about public relations in the public sector that deals with the government. But when I'm talking about private and non-government sector, I am talking about those sectors that are owned by individuals and not by the government. And the government has nothing to do with it. So public relations work is today undertaken by both in-house and by organizations' own employees who form PR or communications department, and by PR consultant or agencies, independent business which hire out their service to a wide range of employers. So today you can see that in this environment or in this society, there are not only public relations under the government sector, but there are public relations in big corporate companies. That is, we call the in-house corporate companies. We have the corporate consultancies in there, and we also have a number of communications department as well. Among them, the in-house PR departments with a range of different titles have spread well beyond big businesses and central government to medium-sized businesses, small government bodies, and non-profit organizations such as charities and educational organizations. Now, here to understand what in-house PR departments are, all you need to know is, for example, Reliance or Tata. Each of these big companies are having their own in-house PR departments. You know why? First of all, there is no cost in sourcing out a PR consultancy from any other company. And the third is, your own company is having a PR department where you can deal with it on a regular basis. So that is why these big companies do not go for any kind of consultancy PR company or any other PR company in general. They work with their in-house departments. Now, these in-house departments in these companies have the corporate communications, the corporate affairs, and the external affairs. So corporate communications, as you all know, it is about maintaining the relationship between that is everything inside the company, and the internal and external communications is done under the corporate communication, where it deals with the company's problems. It deals with the company's communication. Then it's the corporate affairs and external affairs. So the most important thing that is running today, in a major form is that of the in-house PR departments. The in-house PR departments are very cost effective in nature, because I'll tell you why. Is because, first of all, you do not have to hire people outside your organization and pay them separately. You can have your own employees in your team, in your company, and you can just set up a department that is called the PR in-house PR departments, and give them that particular department to run. If there is a requirement for any corporate individual or a PR individual, that the hiring can be done. But these companies are having their own private PR sector. They are having their own private PR departments, where the individuals are actually dealing with the crisis, the launches of new products, the policy changes, and everything. So in-house PR department is one of the most cheapest in it. But what we are dealing with here is the public relations in private. Here, today, it is taken up by in-house, by organizations' own employees, by There are PR firms today, public relations consultancies are there today. So, in this broad major category of private sector, you have to keep in mind how to step out of the box and present your service, present your work in such a manner so that you stand out of all these available areas, right? So the in-house PR department, as I discussed, essentially deals with three areas, that is the corporate communication, the corporate affairs, and external affairs. Next, we will see that this reflects the increase of acceptance of PR as an important tool which should be at the heart of an organization and at its constant disposal. See, no matter what company is that, or no matter what what organization you are working, whether it is an IT company, whether it is a consultancy company or anything, the presence of public relation is a must. It has to be there at the heart of the organization and at its constant disposal. PR is usually carried out more cheaply by directly employed staff than by outside contractors who have to add out the profit margin. The thing I just told in the previous slide, that the PR activities or the entire working of that department is carried out much more easier and cheaply with less money by the directly employed staff than by bringing out outside contractors who have to add their profit margin. Now, there are also, along with these in-house PR agencies, there are also independent PR consultancies that may only employ a minority of PR people and have tended to have higher profile than that of the in-house teams because their quality of work is much more better than that of the quantity of employees they are working with. And there are also firms which specialize in internal communication, crisis management, and immediate evaluation. So the PR consultancies are mastering in which areas? In internal communication, in crisis management, and immediate evaluation, a discipline which seeks to measure the impact of public relations. So whether your company, you can actually hire individuals from these independent PR consultancy. If your company is going through a massive crisis, massive crisis in the company, if you need an immediate evaluation of how your company is doing, you can hire individuals from these independent PR consultancies, right? So these are the different region where what you need to know about the public relations in private and non-government sector. Remember, there is absolutely no influence of the government in this particular sector because these are privately owned public relations organization. You might be having employees in your in your company directly whom you can hire directly, and it is much more cost effective in nature. Or you can actually hire out individual PR consult from independent PR consultancies. You can hire out individuals from this particular arena and make work your company. So these are the guidelines that you need to remember about the public relations in private sector. The next thing that we will be learning is the functions of PR industry in the private and non-government sector. So the functions that we have to keep in mind when we are dealing with private and non-government sector is first, public relations policy. The first and the foremost thing that you need to make people aware about is that develop and recommend corporate public relations policy and share it with the top management and all departments. So when you are working in an in-house in-house PR department, all you need to do is first thing is the public relations policy. Whatever is your policy, try to share it and circulate it among all departments and the top management. It's the first thing that you need to do about the policies. You have to make people know about the policies. See, the functions of PR, the PR in government sector also says that the first thing you need to know is to disseminate or implement the policies. Similarly, in the non-government sector or the private sector, Here, all you need to do in the beginning is to provide them with the public relations policy. Next is statements and press releases. Preparation of corporate statements, sometimes speeches for the executives and press releases are prepared by the PR personnel. So if you are a PR personnel working in an in-house PR company, when there are events, for example, there is an event where the CEO needs to come up on the stage and have to talk about the recent policies and the developments, or just a few words. In that case, you have to remember that you have to prepare the list, you have to prepare the paragraph of speech that he is going to deliver. If there is a press conference as well, all the requirements of whatever needs to be said, whatever needs to be done, must be done by the PR person. So statements and press releases are an utmost important function by the PR industry in the private and the government sector. Next is publicity. Issuing announcements of company activities and products to the company, products to media and community. Planning promotional campaign using media is also a vital function. So third function is publicity. When you are publicizing the products or the services that you are providing to the individuals of the company. So when you are dealing with the people, or when you are dealing with the products, all you need to do is to publicize. You have to make people know about its existence. And this can be only done through which particular element? This can be only done through the help of media, any form of media. So planning promotional campaign using media is also a vital function. If you are providing if you are working on a mental health day in your company, you need to publicize why there is a requirement of mental health day in your workspace. You need to publicize that when it is going to take place and everything. And then is maintaining relations. The PR personnel is expected to maintain a liaison with the government units at local, national, and international levels. They are expected to uphold good relationship with the community as good neighbors. Also, communication between company and the stakeholders or the shareholders or with any other investors is also an important part of this relation. So the first fact that you need to know about maintaining relationship is that the private sector or the non-government sector needs to make a proper relation, needs to make a proper identification, a proper rapport with that of the government sector. Because see, there are places where you need to get away with the mistake that has been done. And this can be only done with the help of, a proper rapport. The first and the foremost thing you can do as a public relations officer is use communication as a key to get into the mind of the person standing opposite to you. The first thing all you need to do is to think about what your company's requirements are, and then try to gain information according to that requirement. So these individuals are required to uphold good relationship with the community as good neighbors. And also communication between the stakeholders and the shareholders and the company is also important. Also maintaining relations with the investors is also an important part that one needs to look out. So these are the different PR industry, the PR functions that you need to look after when you are dealing in the private and the non-government sector. You need to public relations policies needs to be publicized. Statements and press release needs to be made. There must be a proper publicity of whatever is launching or whatever is in the move, and maintaining the relations with variety of personals in the particular department. Next, we will see the questioning part of our PR in private and public sector, right? The first question that I have with you is, what is often representing the publics in the public sector? The options are A, PR, option B, NGOs, option C, government, and option D, the company. So when we are talking about public relations, when we are talking about the public sector, what do you think represents this particular publics? When we are talking about in public sector, we are talking about the governmental agencies, offices, and everything. So it essentially represents the government. So the government or the public sector represents the publics of the society of the public relations. So we are dealing with the governmental policies here. When we are talking about public sector, we are talking about the governmental policies that one is dealing with, and any public relations officer working under this particular public sector needs to abide by the rules set up by the government itself, because he cannot essentially go out of that particular track or go out of the rules presented by that of the government. So one has to abide by the rules of the government. And what represents publics in public sector is the government that we are talking about. So option C is your correct answer. Next question is, what is the basic function of the government public relations department? Options are A, information, education, instruction. Option B, ideas, thoughts, and values. Option C, ethics, laws, and policies. And option D is philosophy. So the basic function of the government in the public relations department, the public sector that we are talking about, is first to inform. The first and the foremost thing that the government public relations department can do is to inform you. Next is to educate you. And the third is to give you instructions to the citizens. So option A is your correct answer. Philosophy, ethics, laws, policies, ideas, thoughts, and values will all come under these factors. When you are first informing the audience about it, you are educating them about the recent happenings or policies or trends, or about the thoughts, values, everything. And instructions, when you give instructions to the people or to the citizens out there, so as to how this needs to be done, so as to how that needs to be done, everything needs to be introduced by the government. So option A, information, education, and instruction is your correct option. Next question that I have with you is, how many types of public relations campaign is used within the public sector? In the public sector, they are asking how many campaigns or public relations campaign are used. Options are A, 2, option B, 3, option C, 5, and option D is 4. So we actually learned about the fact that the special campaign wings deals with the public sector campaigns that happens. And with that, I also gave you the examples of the COVID vaccination drive that took place in Calcutta that was done by the government of West Bengal. In this, there are basically two major type of public relations campaign. One is the mission campaign and the other is the communications campaign. So option A, 2 is the correct answer. Now, if we talk about that, what these two campaigns talk about, the first campaign is talking about, that is the mission campaign, where the government or the governmental personals will issue the policies directly to the audience, and there will be a one-way form of communication. But when we are actually dealing with the communication campaign, remember, we are dealing with the factor that I talked about is the feedback. When the policy is out there in the society, people will start discussing about it, people will start talking about it, and there will be exchange of public opinion. So this communication campaign is basically dealing with any kind of policy that brings about a controversy, that brings about an interaction among the audience. So there is a two-way flow of communication that we are witnessing on in here. So there are basically how many types of public relation campaigns within the public sector? There are basically two types of public relations campaign. One is the mission campaign and number two is the communication campaign. So option A is your correct answer. Next question that I have with you is dash PR departments with range of different titles have spread within PR well beyond the big business and the central government. The options are A, corporate, option B, firms, option C, in-house, and option D, consultancies. So we are here talking about the private sector of the public relations, right? Those who are not owned by the government. So dash PR departments with a range of different titles have spread well beyond big business. That is, the department is having other designations as well. And that is the in-house PR departments. So the in-house PR departments with a range of different titles, like a number of titles are present and designations present in the in-house PR departments have spread well beyond the big business and the central government to medium-sized businesses and small government bodies and non-profit organizations such as charities and educational organizations. Remember, the in-house PR departments are majorly cost-effective in nature, and that is the exact reason why the major companies, the big IT companies, the big consultancy companies, the big, for example, movie production companies are having their own PR departments because they do not need to bring out any other individual or any other professional to work in their PR departments. So option C, in-house PR departments with a range of different titles have spread well beyond big business and central government will be your correct answer. So option C will be your correct answer. And the last question that I have with you is from crisis management. Crisis management is also a part of dash. So you have to fill in the blank here. Options are A, firms, option B, in-house, option C, NGOs, option D, consultancies. So the crisis management is basically a part of the consultancies. It is not essentially a part of the firms or in-house or NGOs, but it is also a part of the consultancies. We are talking about the consultancies. So option D is the right answer. But you cannot essentially say that are there no crisis in firms or in-house or NGOs? Of course, there are crises. But the management process, but the management department is actually carried out by the consultancies. These independent PR consultancies may only employ a minority of a very few people or very few professional PR personals, but have intended to, have a higher profile in the house teams. And this is what is the consultancies are for. So option D is your correct answer. So I hope all the questions and understanding is clear with you. And that will be it for today's class. Thank you so much.